You bring it back and I'll pick it up.
Okay. Welcome back, everybody. We are in the second half of this ladies' night.
Ladies.
Yes, your girl Ashley Nicole.
I am absolutely a Dia feeling Lil Kim vibes. It's
Okay.
ladies' night.
Hey.
Oh no, that's the who bring that song in? Angie Martinez. It
Yes.
must be Angie on the mic.
Okay.
The P, honey got the
Oh,
sugar,
that's
got
throwback.
the spice. Oh, the S tight. He's in the rounds, right? Yeah. Look, showing my age. But that used to be my
I was a youngster.
jam. That was it. Mary J
But
in the
I
video.
still knew the song.
Mary J and Lil Kim doing their signature.
Okay, because it wasn't no dancing.
Signature
sway,
dance moves.
You know, little sway here and there. You know, hit it.
Getting that sway in, yes. Yeah, man. We in the building talking about entrepreneurs linking up and
making magic.
Look, tips on being entrepreneurs. Franchise is not in the building today.
Shout out to you.
He will be back. Yeah, I miss my darkness.
All right, chocolate.
Darkness, everybody.
Okay.
We miss the African. You are missed, sir.
Shout out to Franchise. Make sure y'all follow him at
FaceTime.
Right.
BLK
_ GHST 75.
No vowels on.
No
Look
vowels.
at you. Look at that.
Yeah.
Representing for the man.
Okay.
Yeah, make sure y'all check him out. And he's been posting some dope stuff on the
follow his stories.
The Quad Podcast too. So yeah, check us out at Quad Podcast on Instagram.
Most still.
Yeah, but I wanted to get back to talking about entrepreneurship. Now I know the Founder Institute has what they call a startup checklist. Are you ready for entrepreneurship? And they had a couple of points, and I just wanted to touch on those. The first one says, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? And I think we don't ask that question enough.
Right.
I know that nowadays, when I was growing up, or even in my mom's generation, you you got a job, you found a career, you stayed at the job for 30, 40, 50 years and retired there. These days, I know the statistics are like 3 to 5 years and people are moving around or less. So it's so important. And it's not just about us moving around. So many corporations are just not loyal anymore.
Exactly.
Like, you don't get that. Like,
that same treatment? Nah, it's not the same.
Go they been here 10 years. Out of here.
You gotta go.
So I think a lot of people have been looking at entrepreneurship as a way to protect themselves and make sure that they have residual income regardless of what happens on the side of a day job or even if that's your full time. That was something I used to be so adamant about. And I would talk to people and I think I resented it because I was a full-time entrepreneur and I would meet people that had a day job and they were doing it on the side, and I'd be like, this is my only income. Like, you got to take it that serious. But now that I'm on the opposite side, I'm like, you could do both.
Right.
But I think we don't ask ourselves that question often enough. Like, why do you want to be an entrepreneur? Like, what do you want to get out of it? Is it a talent that you have? Are you just doing it because you see that it's the wave right now? Because when I was working with the models, I started in 2008, and then another chick came in 2009, and she blew up because they were doing like the booty, like Sports Illustrated, like men's magazine type stuff, and we weren't doing that stuff. And actually when she hit the city, a photographer had shot her my information because I had a model boot camp. We were training girls for professional work, and runway interview training, all that stuff, and she hit me up, but they weren't went and turned and did some other stuff. But
they gonna speak on that.
So it was like when she was like, I didn't even know it was somebody else here, doing that type of stuff. And I was like, we've been here since 2007.
Okay.
But when you get in the lane at that time, it was me and her. And then over the next couple of years, I say by 2010, everybody was modeling or had a modeling agency or a company, and they didn't really have paperwork. It's just, oh, me and you, we gonna be models or whatever. And it was so oversaturated. And for a minute it was like, well, do I even still want to do this? And, you know, because it was so many people doing it, but I was like, no, I'm providing a service. We actually, you know, are doing something tangible. The girls are learning, taking something away from it. Kind of like what you're doing, was able to keep a lot of teenage girls out of trouble, teach them something that they could, you know, take with them and learn along the way. One of my models, shout out to Kiva, just started a swimsuit line. Let me find her link real quick. But yeah, it was definitely something that was fulfilling to me on multiple levels, and knowing that I was able to provide a service that was helping people
ultimately
be better and fulfill their dreams and putting them on a path to achieving things that they wanted to achieve was my motivation for starting my business. What was yours?
My motivation definitely for and let me first off start here. I started with styling. I still do styling. It's just not personal styling anymore. I do set wardrobe styling. So shout out to Charles W. Bush. Very, very known for film producer in the DFW Metroplex. He's been like one of my biggest supporters for going over a decade now. And that's why I actually transitioned from, you know, doing the personal wardrobe to the set production. I've done commercials. I just did one this morning, you know. And it's crazy because as the years have gone by, I just realized that I just wasn't meant for just one thing, you know. And with starting with fashion, of course, the industry, the entertainment is going to come from that. So really, my start of it, of fashion wise, was my grandmother. She was my biggest motivation, just wanting to recreate those vintage styles, those classic looks. And then with the wardrobe, of me doing commercials and stuff, me transitioning, I feel like my work is appreciated more with me doing that type of styling versus okay, let me come style you, you know, do you need a wardrobe stylist for this event? It's definitely hard, especially if you don't have the support or the platforms that a lot of individuals may have, or, you know, just biggest thing is the support. But I wanted to transition the styling, and I really didn't want to use my name in any of my businesses for that particular purpose. Poised Concept, that is official as well. You guys can follow that page on Facebook and Instagram, and you will see that I've worked with young girls who are models as well there. And with the Poised Concept, just transition into PR and representation. I'm all about music. So that's another thing about me and Dia's link up, was just really just getting the back end on how to, you know, go forth of approaching artists and things of that nature. So I definitely didn't want to be bottled down with just one thing. I believe when you have talent, it's not meant to be kept in a box. And if that's, you know, putting you on a path of doing multiple things, if you can handle it, you know, because if you have too much on your plate, sometimes it's a struggle, especially if you don't have that structure, if you don't have that individual that's going to lead you and guide you. Hey, don't do it this way. You know, you may want to think about this. And that's one reason why I wanted to do this for the you know, the young girls. It's different from hearing from a parent. It's different from hearing it from a teacher. But let someone like me, myself, a regular young woman in some eyes,
schmegler,
you know, with extraordinary purposes, of course. Just wanted to say, hey, I'm your friend. You know, I'm someone that you can talk to. I'm your outlet. I just love young women. You know, I'm all about seeing people be successful, and why not take hold of this younger generation? Because Lord knows the generation right now.
Child.
I don't know what's going on.
They need it all.
Need everything. So just stepping out on faith, of course, it was like, okay, that doubt was definitely there. Who's going to support? Are people really watching? You know, are people going to trust me? But I had to trust myself first with the gift that God has given me. So I had to recognize that who I was and whose I was before any of this, before me even wanting to put my foot out there and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to learn about this particular lane, you know, educate myself on it. And especially with young women, when Black Girls Rock came out, that was just like, dang, I have to be there. I have to walk on that stage. I have to get that award, not for myself, but for those that I grew up with. You know, the young girls that are watching, that is definitely a goal. It's going to be accomplished. I'm claiming it.
Okay.
Even if I'm just sitting in the audience my first time, I will be in that atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely shoot for it. Kiva's website for the swimwear, all the ladies that's looking for summertime fine swimsuits. She has So Film Swim, and we're from New Orleans, so the So is SEAUX. And so the website is SOFEM, SEAUXFEM.com, or you can check them out on Instagram, and the Instagram is SOFEMSwim.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
And if you need some bangers to go with your, hey, you have to have the accessories with any outfit, swimsuit, any type of attire.
What you got?
Hey, my girl London. Shout out to my girl London. She's in Oklahoma right now, but she has the custom bangers, BBL Shade Bang on Instagram. Her website is bblshadebang.com. Customs. Her online site is up now. She had to, you know, do a thing and recreate. But that's all good. I'm very, very proud of her. We actually met with me being a model coordinator for fashion shows. So we have definitely built a relationship. And when you speak about Super, that's one of her, you know, inspirations. So every time I hear that name, I think of her. And just follow the girl.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the second question on the Founder Institute about starting a business is, what do you hope to achieve as an entrepreneur? And that's a strong question. I think that's very introspective. Some of the sub questions are, will entrepreneurship improve your professional life? Will it improve your personal life? Does achieving the impossible sound enticing, risky, or both? And your personal reasons for becoming an entrepreneur, I think that ties into the first question. But knowing the who, what, when, where, and why is something that I always tell people when I do consulting, because a lot of times we do jump in, like I said before, on the Forrest Gump note, I have an idea and say, you know, I could do this, but it's more than just having an idea. Like you said, it's having the talent too. Actually, the businesses kind of progressed in a very natural way. It was organic. I started out doing PR and marketing. Consulting came because I was having a lot of meetings with people that weren't always ready to do business.
Exactly.
And so I felt like I was wasting a lot of time. So I said, well, hey, this is what I'm going to do. We're just going to charge a consultation fee. And so however much information you could get out of me in an hour for this $75, that's what we're going to get. I'll give you my little carbon copy form. Leave you with this information. And then we'll go like that. And then if you want to, you know, if you need help with the execution, then we'll follow up that way. Like I told y'all on the last episode how I started the magazine. You know, I did the work for the people, and then was interested in putting something together because I knew so many independent artists and independent business owners, and I wanted an outlet for them. And on the international level, you know, a lot of people that know me know almost all of my siblings live in different countries. So being able to do something where we included German artists, and we had people from Australia, we had people from Tokyo, all over reaching out when I had Zwei magazine. But when I started the magazine, I really didn't know how to put it out there once we got it out, outside of, you know, including my network and, you know, my overseas people and stuff like that. But my mom had the idea to shout out to my mama. She always in the mix somewhere. Yeah. But to do a kiosk in the mall. And Jay Lyric said, you know, in the beginning, he saw me at the kiosk.
Yeah.
And then I moved into the inline store. So, yeah, the kiosk started out as just a way to promote the magazine. Right. And then we had the kiosk, and I had an online clothing store just because when you see wholesale prices of clothing, it just makes you want to sell it because it's super cheap. But I had that at the time before it exploded into what it is now with the online boutiques. Yeah. But it really is super easy to get started once you get your wholesale license and stuff like that. And so I had those clothes sitting at the house, and she was like, well, won't you just bring that to the kiosk, you know, and since you have it. So I was like, okay. And then, like I said, we grew from there. We got the inline store, got a lot more products, and, you know, that way. But even with the models, I was doing PR. I got hired to work on a fashion show with the nonprofit organization that work with young kids. And I went to school for fashion design. I had that background, and I had worked ran backstage for a lot of the fashion shows at SCAD when I was at Savannah College of Art and Design. And when we did fashion shows, SCAD always had big name designers. It's like number 1, number 2 school for fashion in the country. And so Andre Leontali, who is I think he's the associate editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine. He's been coming since the beginning. Every year he would come. Jay Alexander came and taught us how to walk the runway. Alexander Wang, Caroline Herrera, almost every big name in fashion has Tom Ford. We met Tom Ford. We met Bagsley Mishka. All of these people would come to the school. They would do portfolio reviews. We would have like one-on-ones with them and stuff like that. So what I brought to the arena doing fashion shows was from a very professional level. Of course. And so that's how I started, working with the models and, you know, mentoring and stuff like that. So that just was kind of like a natural thing. And then working with the music artists and entertainment, music artists need models, you know, shooting videos, they doing promo, they doing album covers. So it just initially worked together. In all of my businesses, one of the things that I prided myself on, even though I was doing a lot, I always tried to find a way to make it all congeal and work together. Exactly. So when I had the store in the mall for my advertising, I used my models. They wore the clothes. You know, when they had events, I give them stuff to wear or whatever. We put it in the magazine. You know, I sell the magazine out the store. So even if you're doing a lot of things or it's a lot of things that you want to do, it's a way that you can figure it out to make it all work together and work to your advantage. And I think that's the part where, you know, being clever and being savvy comes in to say, well, I know I'm really good at this. I can utilize this to do this. And one of the things that I'm really big on is leveraging every opportunity. I call it Leo. But leveraging every opportunity to do what you're doing, but do it bigger and better. So, you know, like I had all of this experience from fashion, from going to fashion school, but then I switched my major. So I wasn't utilizing it, but I had it to share. So it was like, okay, well, let me start this school and do this, and then I can share that information and, you know, help other people be great. The number 3 question is, how much time are you willing to commit? And that one is a scary question to me because
it's about that discipline, man. How bad do you want it? That's how much time you gonna commit to it.
Yeah, in my eyes. A lot of entrepreneurs. I did an interview years ago with the guy I was working with at the time, and we were joking because I'd be up at like 3-4 in the morning, and I post something on Facebook. He comment or he post something like he be up. And entrepreneur, you know, creative hours. 24/7, you know, working with music artists, a lot of them go into the studio late at night. They're in the studio. A lot of them have bedrooms, sleep in the studio, you know. So when you talking about putting in time, like even I said on the last episode with the magazine, I was working when I did the first edition of the magazine, 12, 16 hours a day in front of the computer, learning, researching, like really getting it out the mud. So that's a serious question, especially for people that are working a day job and trying to transition over to working for themselves full time, or if you're going to do both, because you really have to be dedicated to say, I done put in my 8, 10, 12 hours at my day job and tired, stressed out, wore out, exhausted mentally, emotionally, whatever, depending on your job, physically, if you do manual labor. And then it's a labor of love to come after that.
Yeah.
And put in,
you have to love what you're doing.
5, 10, hours for yourself too.
Exactly.
And then do it all over again and do it all over again. So that's definitely a top 5 question. And be realistic with yourself too. Because I know a lot of time, one of the things I would do was say, oh yeah, I'm up all night. Yeah, I could do this, and then take on this stuff. And then sometimes you just need a moment to breathe. Yeah. And a lot of creatives, sometimes you just need a moment to do nothing. Like we do a lot, and then you work crazy hours, and then you feel weird because you're up. Yeah. And sometimes you just need like Netflix and chill by yourself time. So you have to be realistic, when you're looking at that as well. Number 4 is, what problem do you want to solve? And that goes into, what is your solution? How big is the problem? Is it local? Is it national? Is it global? That's a great question for brands. Even for music artists, that was one of the things that prompted me to create Zwei magazine. Zwei is German for the number 2. Mm-hmm. Initially, when I had the concept, because majority of my sisters, I was born in Germany, a lot of my siblings are German, I was going to do a 2-sided magazine where it was the same thing, but one side was totally in German, the other side was totally in English. To me, that sounded great. Production wise, crazy to produce. But once I had to look at it again, because I was looking at so many artists that were in the United States maybe looked at as B-level or C-level artists, but even D-level were traveling overseas and doing shows and selling out and making money in rotation, right? Out there. And even artists like Cash Money, they went to Japan, they went all over the world. And a lot of times when you meet with artists, they aren't thinking globally, they aren't thinking nationally, they're thinking their neighborhood or their city or their state, when it's so much money to be made outside of that. And so that was the biggest thing that we wanted to expose people to, indie artists in France that are doing the same thing as you, indie artists in Africa that are doing the same thing as you, visual artists, filmmakers, and really just giving them an opportunity to see what people are doing, network with people outside of the country, but just to start thinking on a global level. Right. And that's huge. My sister Bia always loves to try to support the entrepreneurs that I post, and she lives in Munich. And she it's great because she always points out stuff that we don't think about. So one of the businesses, she tried to shop online, and the shipping cost for overseas was crazy because they hadn't adjusted it or accounted for their overseas, because they didn't really know, you know what I'm saying, like how it was going. So I think they just put like a default in the system because they weren't really thinking about the overseas shoppers. And she hit me up and she was like, how is the shirt $10 but the shipping is $15? Like, so I'm paying, I'm paying more to ship than I am for, for the merchandise. So yeah, it brings into account a lot of different things of how we do business, even, how we put together websites, mobile links, all that kind of stuff. When you think on a global level, you really have to think outside the box of not just on how people are perceiving your brand, but how it stands up to your competitors on a world scale.
Yeah.
And I think really taking the time out to do that research can really help level up your brand. I spend a lot of nights up because of the time difference, you know, there when it's morning or daytime, it's evening and nighttime here. Reaching out to radio stations, online radio stations, talking to DJs and stuff like that for independent artists. And they are, I don't even know how I could express this. I wish I had like a button to press to amplify, but they are so thirsty and hungry for anything that is from the U.S. They love our culture. They love the music. They love the fashion. And all it takes is, you know, reaching out to those people and making those connections to really be successful globally. So if you take anything away from this episode, if you are a creative, if you are an entrepreneur, or especially an artist, reach out, look at some people in different countries that are doing what you're doing. Maybe you could get some ideas, you know, maybe you can exchange some ideas. Just start thinking bigger. You know, people talk a lot, especially when we talk about religion and business, and, you know, God is about to blow my mind. Blow your own mind. Start, you know what I'm saying? Like, start thinking outside the box. It's multiple ways to be successful. And just like, you know, you were talking about, Supa and the video that she made about competition and competitors, and you know how you'll have all the fast food places in one spot. Well, I might not, you know, want to eat that today. I might not have a taste for that today, or they might be closed, or, you know, whatever. It's so many different options. And that was the thing about being in the mall that I learned too. Because you're in the mall and it's all these different stores. But everybody's store is different. And so, you know, somebody's going to see something in your store that they don't have somewhere else, you know, or that's the challenge for you as a business owner, to figure out what your niche is and how you can set your business apart, you know, from other businesses and what they have going on. The last one is, this is a great one. What makes you qualified to start a company?
Well, first of all, it makes you qualified to start any. I mean, if you want to do something more with your life, not being stuck behind a 9-to-5 or that traditional way of living, you have to be qualified within yourself first. You can't.
Right. Well, I think that's what they're asking, because one of the things, now we talk about entrepreneurship, but everybody, we got to be honest and say everybody's not built to be.
That's what I said. Of course, you want to actually be realistic about the situation and not just come up with any and every old thing, but actually have a purpose behind what you are doing.
Yeah, and also be real. If you're not good in stressful situations, if you can't handle deadlines, you know, if you don't have good customer service, you know what I'm saying? You will curse everybody out. You probably shouldn't be a business owner, you know. So definitely. But anybody else you want to shout out? Any other small businesses? I know Clever Collection, my homie, has the menswear Poppington over there. You could check out the clevercollection.com. And man, they have some dope stuff coming for the fall.
I do want to shout out to my goddaughter Rolani. That's my baby there. I call her Rose. She is a freshman this year, so I'm very excited about that. She's my oldest goddaughter, but she has an online store herself.
Awesome.
So she's having back to school sales right now. You guys can check her out as Rolani's Closet. That's ROALILANI closet, and her website is Rolani ROLANI closet.cinderellascloset.shop. I'll have that up on our page, our Unquiet page too, so you guys can check that out. Definitely want to support the young entrepreneurs. That's always a special thing. And she's also one of my DKLP dolls as well. So again, that is Rolani's ROLANI closet.cinderellascloset.shop. Make sure you check her out. She has some cool little t-shirts and graphic shirts going on right now.
Awesome. The last one I have, man, my homie, in Macomb, she's doing an adult prom. The flyer is so dope. I'm gonna have to post it on the social media. She did one last year. It's the second annual adult prom. It's November 24th, 2018. And it's really a great event for people that either never went to their prom, they got their GED or whatever, or if you had a bad prom experience. Like some people, I didn't.
I never
my prom
went,
was
so
great.
I need to.
Oh, okay.
I had a hard life coming up, so I ain't make that one.
Oh no, well, this is for you. It's 25 and
check
up.
that out.
And they have a Mardi Gras theme this year. So I know she's going to have live performances. You get unlimited drinks and food.
Oh, yeah.
The theme is
and
Mardi
November,
Gras Glam. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Bayou Classic Weekend, but we going to be rolling out to Mississippi for the second annual adult prom.
Hey,
yeah, her flyer is dope.
It's dope. That's pretty. I like that.
Yeah, y'all make sure y'all check that out. I think the Instagram is MS Adult Prom, at MS Adult Prom. And you can check it out if you search Mississippi Adult Prom. It should come up. Okay. But I'll post a link as well. But I think the biggest takeaway, if it's anything, is just don't be afraid to link up with other entrepreneurs. Don't be afraid to ask and find mentors. When Ashley first came to me, I was like, I don't know if you want. I don't know how much I can help you, but just seeing you flourish and everything that you have going on, and really
thank you.
Being serious about the work. You know, everything that I would give her or tell her, I give her homework, and she texts me like, "Hey, I did this. Look, I'm on it."
Most definitely.
Yeah, just being invested in having somebody to be accountable to. Right. To go back and say, I did it, I'm doing it, or I'm stuck and I need more help.
Exactly.
How you win. So
right.
Link up. If you have any more entrepreneurs, shoot them to us.
Please do. And don't forget to talk to the choir, y'all. We do have an email address where you can give us your feedback on the episodes. We definitely want to keep in track, keep that on track or whatever. So that's talktotheqp.com. And that's talktotheqp@gmail.com. I'm sorry.
I was about to
so
say,
we can
what?
go ahead and
it
was like a whole website. Yeah, that might be coming soon too. So just wait on that.
Gabby, shout out to Gab, Gift of Gab, but she's working on the website. It's gonna be dope. It's dope.
I'm excited about that.
So dope. It's coming soon.
Yes.
But yeah, guys, I am absolutely Adia.
It's your girl Ashley Nicole.
Franchise will be back in the building next week.
Next week.
All right, and this is the Quiet.